render this invisible to you, but if you play around with your settings, you can see these in game, and it's really cool. It also begs the question, have they done this before? Do we have to look all around the world looking for almost invisible glyphs to then solve? I don't know, but maybe. Anyway, if you want to help solve these, join the Noita community Discord. I'll put a link down below in my description and also in a pinned comment, and maybe you get a chance to solve this. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Let's see where this rabbit hole goes. And may I just say again that this entire patch, this entire secret quest is incredible. I love everything about this. Those potion mimics, best boys in the entire game. I'm gonna collect them, and it's gonna be incredible. All right, thanks. See ya. Happy noiting.
With a CIBC advisor, you get a plan that meets your evolving needs. My husband and I worked with ours, and you hear that? That's the sound of putting our kids through school and retiring early. Talk to a CIBC advisor to get you moving. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Fury. Welcome to the sequel, the best minimal slot wand builds part 2. I just want to quickly thank you guys. The response on the first video was absolutely amazing. It blew me away. So thank you guys. Here's part 2. We got twice as many to get through this time, so let's get started. Up first, we have the extremely effective Fireball Orbit on Triplicate Bolt. You can put Fireball Orbit on any projectile, such as a Spark Bolt, and it will do well, but Triplicate Bolts have 3 different pellets, and each one of those pellets gets its own Fireball Orbit for not much mana. This will help you absolutely shred most enemies through a good chunk of the game, especially later on when you might be able to rapid fire this. And unlike a lot of 2-spell builds, this one is highly effective against mechanical enemies as well, and not just the fleshy enemies. Early on, this is just an insanely powerful combo. You're gonna have to spray yourself down with water a lot so that you don't set yourself on fire every 2 seconds, but you should be doing that anyway. Especially early on, water is your best friend. Other than that, the only real downside that this has is that in order to unlock the Fireball Orbit spell, you need to first defeat the dragon mini-boss in the jungle. But after you unlock it, you'll start finding it very commonly early on in your runs, and it's very effective. Next, we got Water Trail on a rock. A very simple and elegant weapon for a more civilized time. Kick rock, drown the world. And obviously having the Breathless perk helps you to not drown yourself, and carrying around an Uko Skeevy allows you to electrocute everything around you. Just be mindful of your surroundings. You don't want to explode yourself by detonating a propane tank or anything. I call this one the "we've got creepy liquid at home" build. It might not look it in this footage, but it's actually extremely powerful. Enemies can't breathe underwater, most of them, so you could just drown everything or just electrocute them easily. It's very good, very simple. And that's what this video is all about, right? Plasma Cutter is very effective at digging and removing every layer of your skin. Ouch. However, by slapping the new Null Shot spell on before Plasma Cutter, you can dig without doing any damage to yourself at all. Null Shot is not exactly a common spell to find, especially early on, but if you do find it, just know that it will completely remove the damage from Plasma Cutter, making it a much safer spell to dig with. Next is Damage Field on Pollen. Pollen is one of my favorite spells in the entire game. It is a highly versatile spell that a lot of people avoid because it does do self-damage, but very minimal self-damage. Now, let me show you exactly why this is so good. Not only will Pollen act as a shield against enemy projectiles, even quite easily blocking this guy's attacks, but it also has natural homing. Not only this, but it's also good for digging through soft materials like snow or the coal veins in coal pits. It's actually probably my favorite way to dig around in coal pits and gather all the gold veins that are scattered around in the walls. And also, it's very effective in the fungal caverns, where these little boogers are usually kind of a pain in the butt to aim at. Pollen will just very effectively track them and kill them, especially if you have the damage field on there. Damage field obviously adds a lot more damage, and it's piercing damage that is applied very quickly. I ended up taking quite a bit of damage during that little excursion, but with Boomerang, Piercing Shot, and Healing Bolt, you can heal yourself back up to max very quickly. This is another classic that is tried and tested, and so it definitely deserves a spot on this list. I was debating whether or not I was even going to put this one on the list, but this is actually one of the first classics because it is just straight up very effective. And it's simply any of the homing modifiers, in my case short range homing, followed by disc projectile. That's it. In this clip, you can see just how easily, even though I get smacked right in the schnoz right there by a Hisi CEO, you can see how easily I take out most of this biome full of Hisi. That is because disc projectile will just absolutely shred any fleshy enemy, such as the Hisi. And with a homing modifier on it, it will take them out from around corners, because the disc projectile is slow enough for the homing to actually really affect it greatly. Of course, this is not as effective against mechanical enemies or enemies that are obviously strong against slice damage, but for 2 slots, you can't deny the usefulness of this one. And now,